a bill will be introduced to modernize the asylum and immigration system, establishing a new border security command and delivering enhanced counter-terror powers to tackle organized immigration crime.
Sadiq Khan left speechless as King Charles releases a formal palace document. You're not going to believe what just happened. Because while London was buzzing about transport cuts, ULEZ debates, and police funding arguments, something much bigger was unfolding quietly behind the scenes. Something no one saw coming. Something that landed straight from Buckingham Palace and left Sadiq Khan completely stunned, frozen, almost speechless. This is the kind of moment that changes the political temperature instantly. Let's get into it. 4 weeks now, tensions have been rising between the Mayor of London's office and several national institutions. Public frustration, debates about London's direction, questions about the use of power all brewing under the surface. But behind all of this, another silent tension had been forming, one that rarely makes headlines until the palace gets involved. And today, that moment finally arrived. Buckingham Palace released what is being called a formal constitutional clarification document, a carefully worded, highly significant message regarding the expectations around ceremonial roles, royal protocols, and how elected officials interact with the monarchy's ceremonial functions. It was official, it was final, and the timing was unmistakable. Now, here's where things turned dramatic. Sadiq Khan was in the middle of a City Hall briefing, cameras rolling, reporters packed in, questions flying when one journalist interrupted with breaking news. "Mr. Mayor, the palace has just released a document regarding ceremonial protocols. Any response?" Khan paused. He looked down, he blinked. He let out a breath like he wasn't ready for that question. You could see it that split second where his confidence shifted. He wasn't angry. He wasn't dismissive. He was simply caught off guard. He tried to answer, but reporters spoke over each other, waving their phones, quoting lines from the newly released document. One journalist said, "This seems to directly address recent disagreements between your office and national protocol advisors." Another added, "The palace doesn't usually release documents like this unless something significant is happening." The room changed instantly. You could feel the tension, the curiosity, the sense that something big had just landed. Khan eventually managed to say, "We will review the document carefully. I respect the palace and its constitutional role." But the tone wasn't smooth. It wasn't scripted. It wasn't his usual confident rhythm. It was the voice of someone trying to process something in real time. Now, what exactly was in this document? According to insiders, it reaffirmed the monarchy's ceremonial boundaries, clarified expectations around protocol, and re-emphasized that royal engagements and constitutional customs must remain free from political interpretation. It didn't name Sadiq Khan. It didn't reference City Hall directly. But the timing, the tone, the precision, made it impossible to ignore. One Westminster analyst put it perfectly. The palace doesn't fire shots, but they do send signals. Today's document was a signal. Another insider told a news outlet, "There has been growing discomfort about the mixing of political messaging with ceremonial functions. This document is meant to draw a clean line." Social media reacted instantly. One user wrote, "Wow. King Charles just reminded everyone who sets the rules for constitutional protocol." Another said, "Sadiq didn't see that coming. You could tell." Some defended the mayor, saying the palace simply wanted clarity. Others insisted this was a subtle correction. And a few were genuinely confused, asking, "What exactly triggered this now?" But across the board, one sentiment was consistent. This wasn't normal. This was bigger than it looked. Let's add some important context here. King Charles is known for his calm firmness. He doesn't explode, he doesn't make dramatic public moves, he selects his timing, he chooses his words carefully, and he only intervenes when absolutely necessary. So when the palace releases a formal document, not a casual statement, not a quiet memo, but a structured clarification, Westminster listens. London listens. The entire country listens. And the fact that this happened during a period of political tension only makes it more powerful. Was the document a warning? A gentle correction? A necessary clarification? That depends on who you ask. But one thing is certain. It landed with impact. As the dust settles tonight, people are asking a bigger question. Is this the start of a new phase in the relationship between political leaders and the monarchy, a phase where the palace speaks more clearly when boundaries are crossed? A senior political correspondent summed it up perfectly. Today wasn't about conflict. It was about clarity. And clarity, in British politics, is often louder than confrontation. Sadiq Khan, for all his experience, didn't expect it. Not today. Not in the middle of a briefing. Not with cameras rolling. And that moment, the pause, the breath, the glance downward told the whole story. Because sometimes, silence says more than a speech. And sometimes, a single palace document can shift the political mood of an entire city. What happens next may be the real story. And the question now is, if this is just the beginning, how much deeper does it go?